Hey guys, Baseball D here, and this is the first voiceover on the channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. But this video is meant to be about the Astros and how I believe the Astros should and could go away on the deadline. About the Yusei Kikuchi trade, I personally am not the biggest fan of the Yusei Kikuchi trade, but the Astros, of course, making a deal with the Toronto Blue Jays, but more on that soon. But the Astros, of course, are coming to the playoffs, or trying to make the playoffs, and ultimately they're in first place, so it's looking better. But Yusei Kikuchi, a left-handed pitcher, who's done pretty good. He's done wonders in his last 7 games, not doing those wonders that you've seen. He's 33 years old, so he's a little bit older than you would have liked to see. But the Astros go out and get Yusei Kikuchi for Jake Bloss, who has been considered the man of the trade. And Jake Bloss, I mean, he is a wonderful pitcher, and for the Astros to give up Jake Bloss for Yusei Kikuchi, it seems about right. I think that the Blue Jays knew what they were getting with Jake Bloss, and the Astros knew what they were getting with Yusei Kikuchi. Now, Yusei Kikuchi will only be a rental player unless the Astros re-sign Yusei Kikuchi, but it doesn't seem like that was going to happen, and it actually seems like Yusei Kikuchi could retire after this year. He's 33 is not old, but it's also not young for a major league career. But Jake Bloss has some nasty stuff. 3 starts in the major leagues. First one against the Orioles, he had to come out early after reportedly injuring something in his shoulder, but it turned out to be just fine. He came back in for the next game against the Marlins. Did pretty good, and then the game, of course, against the Oakland A's, which is considered to be one of his best starts of his young career. Sad to see him go. Of course, after having that great start, he was scratched from the start tonight. But another guy going to the Toronto Blue Jays, that's going to be Joey Loperfido. Joey Loperfido, a star on the defense, 2 home runs, both his first and his second home runs of his career. Again, he's a defensive wizard, like you can see in that play there. But I think he's doing pretty good. I feel like that's a little bit close to the heart. But another guy close to the heart, Will Wagner. He's a great hitter, batting .307, I believe, down there in AAA. He'll be going over to the Buffalo Bisons in AAA for the Toronto Blue Jays. So the Blue Jays seem to have won that trade, of course. It's going to be Jake Bloss, Joey Loperfido. Both guys expected to do pretty good. And then, of course, Will Wagner, who's also expected to do pretty good, but not as good as those 2 guys named previous for Yusei Kikuchi, who Dana Brown, who is not my favorite person in the world right now, but Dana Brown saying that he's trying to fight for the defensive side, and I believes that the offensive side for the Astros is pretty good. But on my Astros thoughts on the trade deadline so far, of course, the Yusei Kikuchi trade, but I feel like the Astros could use a little bit more weapons. I feel like the Astros could use a little bit more of the relief pitching side of things, and of course the bats. I mean, the bats to the Astros, I feel like that's pretty good. I feel like you're not seeing the problems on the offensive side. I feel like it's more of that single defensive error. Not usually just an error, but it's just something that the Astros could have done better. I can't remember what game it was, but I think it was Jose Altuve gunning a ball home. They could have gotten the out, but it got towards this kind of like pickle thing. That's those things that I feel like, they're major league players, and you can't expect them to know everything. But I feel like those little things kind of damage the team. But other than that, you've seen great pitching from both Framber Valdez, of course, Jake Bloss, and other guys. The offensive side doing pretty good as well. You have your few down games, but then you get right back up there. So the Astros tied for first place with the Mariners. I personally would like to see the Astros, now that they've traded Joey Loperfido, hopefully go out and look for another guy who can play out there. Now, I know that Joey Loperfido was kind of playing left and right, mostly playing left field and giving Chas McCormick right field. But now that you give up Joey Loperfido, does that mean Kyle Tucker's coming back? And that's something that they know that we don't? That Kyle Tucker's nearing the end of his recovery time and that he's almost ready to play ball again? Or he's not, and the Astros didn't think about that, and they only thought about the prospects type of the trade. and you have to worry about who you're going to put out there. Now, you have Trey Cabbage, of course, former Angel from last year. He can play in the right field. He can play left field. But we've seen Chaz play left. And, of course, Joey Loperfido getting left most of the time pretty often. But now that he's gone, do you throw Chas McCormick out there? Do you throw Mauricio Dubon out there? Who do you throw out there? And then who do you throw in right field? Trey Cabbage doesn't really have that bat that the Astros are looking for, so maybe that could be something that the Astros take into consideration. Hopefully it's something that Dana Brown does take into consideration when he's looking at possible trade prospects here as the deadline approaches, of course, on the 31st, I believe. What do the Astros do there? The Astros, what do we get from Dana Brown? I would like you to leave your comment down below. Personally, Dana Brown, not my favorite general manager of the Astros in my lifetime. I think there's been like 2 or 3. But I think James Click had his prospects ready to go, ready to load. And I believe the top prospect in 2023 was Hunter Brown. Hunter Brown, of course, in the majors. And Yander Diaz, who was the second in the majors. But the number 3 prospect, who would have moved up to number 1 by the time of the trade deadline. Remind you, Justin Verlander was not on the squad. But he, of course, got traded to the Mets. Drew Gilbert traded to the Mets with their number 6 prospect number 3 prospect at the time, Ryan Clifford. So that's kind of something that's pretty upsetting that most of our prospects have gone either downhill or have left the team or have been traded. Justin Deere is a good example of that. Went to Milwaukee. I believe he was let the free agency, let him walk. That's what Dana Brown did following last year when he was a top name. I think a lot of people heard of possibly being a new guy that the Astros bring up. But, of course, he does, and this is a little bit longer video. I don't know if I have enough footage to throw into this video, but I just wanted to talk about Jake Bloss and Joe Loperfido. Of course, the Yusei Kikuchi trade, Will Wagner, of course, close to Heart Astro, Billy Wagner's son. So that'll be sad to see all those guys go. And, of course, Yusei Kikuchi, Yusei, the nickname for Yusei Kikuchi in Toronto. Hopefully that'll translate over here to Houston. But Yusei Kikuchi, of course, it's happy to have a new guy in Houston. Sad to see the guys leave Houston. You would have liked to maybe see a guy like Jake Myers or Chas McCormick probably get traded here instead of those young prospects. But it's either a bust or it's greatness. So you have to just kind of wait to see. And I guess Dana Brown and the Astros organization doesn't want to see that. They want it now. With them just making the ALCS, we saw the Astros, of course, losing the ALCS back in 2020, 2021, lost in the World Series, 2022, won the World Series. So maybe that's something that the Astros is trying not to recreate and hopefully just go and win the World Series today, this year. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. This is a long video. I think it's going to be about 10 minutes. Try to cut as much out as I can. But if you'd like this long content or this voiceover, just leave a comment down below. But yeah, this is Baseball D. Hope you enjoy. Make sure to like and subscribe. For more Astros content, Texans content coming up soon. Can't wait for football season. But that's Baseball D. We'll see you later.